The Super Speedway Podcast is a Dream Bigger media production. For news, photos, show notes, and information about advertising on the podcast, visit www.thesuperspeedway.com.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Super Speedway.
Woo! 17 comes up, gets loose. Some great driving right there by both of those guys.
Okay, that 17's gonna have to not be such of a dumbass.
Welcome to episode 98 of the Super Speedway Podcast, recorded Tuesday, March 5th, 2019. I'm your host, Eric Young, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, James Cush. James, how's it going today?
Eric, I wish you would start every podcast with that James is a dumbass, and we take off from there. That was beautiful.
That's good, right?
You're getting really good at the intros. It's like you're just playing music before, it's beautiful. It's art.
So the worst part was as I'm watching the race, I heard this moment during the race, and I'm like, okay, remember, that was right at the end of stage one, so I can go back to my recording and pull that audio for the race. And I pulled it for the podcast. I pulled it probably 10 minutes ago and put it in there. So yeah, good stuff. Eric Jones, Ricky Stenhouse getting into it a little bit at Vegas.
That was good. I'm starting, we give Ricky Stenhouse a lot of crap, but I'm starting to kind of like the guy.
Yeah, actually I wanted to talk about that, and I guess we could jump into it right off the bat. Of course, we're recapping the Pennzoil 400 from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. It's our first race with the new Aero package. Official new first race of the new Aero package.
The full boat. And
Stenhouse is definitely one that I wanted to talk about because there's a lot of people that are unhappy with his driving. He was aggressive as crap at Daytona. He was aggressive as crap at Vegas. But should that be a problem?
Dude's a good drafter.
Yeah,
dude's a good drafter, and he gets results when drafting is a major factor. He gets results, aggressive or not, and sometimes he drives a little over his head, like at Daytona.
Yeah.
But I had no problem with the Eric Jones stuff. I had no problem with the Martin Truex Jr. stuff last week. Keep on going, man.
Yeah, I'm telling you. If you're good at a restrictor plate package, and NASCAR puts a similar package to a restrictor plate package on at almost all the tracks, don't you do what you can to get the win?
Yeah, do your thing, man.
Stenhouse is running up there with guys that he hasn't, run with on a track, on a 1.5-mile track. Go for it, man.
Yeah,
so,
I'm all for it.
Yeah,
it's hard.
He came home 6th. Great, awesome day for him.
He's been running well.
That's a win for Roush Fenway.
Yep. They'll take that every week
on a 1.5-mile track. That's a win.
Yep.
So,
yes, sir.
All right, let's talk about the winner before we forget to do that. Of course, we get first of all, I want to say thanks for doing the show notes, James. This is the least prepared I've ever been for one of these podcasts. But...
Oh, good. Yeah.
So
I appreciate you going ahead and finishing them because I only got them drafted. So
well, I added one. I added one thing, so you pretty much did the rest.
Good.
So Penske gets 2 in a row this week. Joey Logano gets the win. Brad Keselowski really close to getting the pass. I honestly think, I don't know about Brad, because Brad's not a dirty driver. So maybe not. But I think if it was any other team than another Penske car in front of him, Brad might have put the bumper to him coming out of turn 4.
That was Kyle Busch. Come on.
Oh, yeah. If it was Kyle was flipping through the grass.
Yeah.
Brad would have done anything he could to take him out. But no, actually, I don't know if he would, really. Brad's not a dirty driver.
But he would have given him something. I think I don't know if he let his foot off the pedal with Joey, but he definitely gave him a little more leeway.
I really wanted to see him take each other out just because Brad and Joey have this buddy friendship thing, and it'd just be fun to see them mad at each other for a weekend. But so Logano holds him off, gets the win. Penske goes 2 in a row, as I said. 2 of the Penske cars in the playoffs now already, 3 races into the season. Is Penske the team to beat right now? They kind of look like it.
Yeah, it looks like they've taken the new rules package and figured it out. I
don't know if you can figure it out in one race, but
well,
Joey's coming off the momentum of last year. Brad had momentum at the end of last year.
Yeah,
I think they're just picking up where they left off, and the Aero package was the best thing I think for the Mustang. because it's taken away any disadvantage that the Mustang would have had with a new body this year.
Yeah, the Mustangs, from what we know, the Fords are fast again.
Yep.
Comparative to everybody else, and the Penske cars seem to be the lead dog.
Yeah.
Stewart-Haas Racing's not far behind them though. Those guys are still, they're still really good. But yeah, right now Penske's figured it out. They've got it dialed in, and if Ryan Blaney goes and wins next week, they'll be all set for the playoffs.
There you
Get
go.
themselves all locked in. So
Joey Logano led 86 laps on the day. I will point out that Kevin Harvick, who finished fourth, led 88 laps on the day. So Harvick led a few more laps. So can't count Harvick out. He's still right there, and he had pit stop trouble or something, didn't he? Didn't he have an issue at some point that put him back a little bit?
Yeah, something late. There was a few teams that ran into some pit road issues. And pit road strategy played a big part of it, but there was such a long green flag run.
Yeah, the whole race was.
yeah, I know. That last stage especially, it went wire to wire, 100 laps.
Right.
So yeah, I know Kurt Busch, he finished fifth. He played the strategy game quite a bit.
Yep.
But yeah, some guys got jumbled around, but Joey Logano comes out on top.
So I do think that we're missing one thing here. Then the results, if you really look at them, you see it. But unless you watch the race, unless you know what happened in the race, you don't. So yes, Joey Logano led 86 laps. Yes, Kevin Harvick led the most laps. But there was one guy I think that was quicker, and I think he proved it by going from where he ended up having to restart to third place for the finish.
Yeah.
That was Kyle Busch.
Yeah.
And not only that, but if Kyle would have had 10 more laps, he might have run down the leader.
Well, this is a typical, if you put Kyle Busch's career, into one weekend, this was it.
Yep.
You dominate the truck race, dominate Xfinity, and then kick yourself in the butt on Sunday.
Cannot blame. Well, he did try to blame the fact that they put different brake package on the car, but really can't blame. And he mentioned it, but he didn't really put the blame on that. He said he screwed up. So I give him some credit for taking the blame because he had to. There's only one guy working the brake.
Yep. Should have swapped it.
Yep. Kyle screwed up coming on a pit road, sped. It was the most obvious speeding penalty ever. NASCAR probably didn't have to look at the computer to make the call. He was definitely speeding coming on a pit road. So Kyle gets put to the back, and the fact that there were no cautions hurt him. If there would have been a couple cautions, he would have been right there in the running. Likely would have won the race. So
yeah, probably. Yeah, he was good all day. He didn't lead a whole bunch of laps, but his car got better as the day went along. And yeah, he screwed the pooch.
Yep.
He could have had another one of his Kyle sweeps.
There you
He
go.
got all three of them, but that's the that's kind of what Kyle does from time to time.
Yep.
He lets him slip through the grasp.
William Byron, another decent day. Finished 16th, but led 21 laps on the day. I believe that was with strategy, if I remember correctly, though. Didn't he
Yeah,
stay
there's
out?
a lot of strategy. Yeah. He stayed out late. Knaus made a long run call.
That's right, yep. Which, would have made a lot of sense if a caution would have come out, which usually it does. So
yes, didn't quite catch the break, but they're probably the best Hendrick car. I know Chase Elliott top 10 finish, but
yeah, Chase was pretty quiet. Jimmy
Johnson was out to lunch again.
Yeah, exactly.
And actually finished better than I thought he was going to end up. He finished 19th, but he was in bad shape. He's had a couple of rough weekends.
Yeah, I agree. Those are kind of your major players up front. You mentioned Kurt Busch. Comes home fifth place. They did the one tire pit stop. They only changed one tire on that pit stop.
That would have been great. Yeah, I'd love to see that someday. See how that works.
Changed just two tires and held their own pretty well up there. To get that.
Yeah, that was one thing I noticed with the new rules package. There was a call early in the race. Brad Keselowski took two tires to get some track position.
Yep.
And was able to hold his own.
Interesting how much of a drop off there was on tires.
Yes. Yeah, and it's just that clean air thing again. But what we did see was a handful of crew chiefs. The guys we consider like the smart guys in the garage. Knaus, Paul Wolf, and Rodney Childers. There was some gamesmanship going on out there with the crew chiefs. And I think with this rules package, we're gonna see. These teams are going to take this notebook out to California here in a couple of weeks, and we're going to see a little bit more of that.
Yeah.
I can just see him kind of building on it because I really liked what Knaus did with Byron. making a strategy play. And if they would have got a couple of cautions their way,
Right.
yeah, it could have turned out different. But I don't think anybody anticipated a long green flag run, this entire race either.
No, I mean we've had 2 races now with one incident, and that was Kyle Busch spinning out with I guess we had the pit road incident, so 2 incidents.
Yeah.
We had Kyle Busch spin out at Atlanta, and we had the pit road incident at Atlanta, and that's it.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
yeah, interesting. Let's talk about the Aero package a little bit, James. We got to see our first real look at it. A lot of people want to jump the gun and say, well, we either love it or we hate it, and I think it's way, way, way too early for that still.
Oh yeah.
I guess I'm not going to give you my opinion yet. I think we've kind of talked about it a little bit off air though. What was your thought on it first, James, and then I'll jump in.
Yeah, no, my thought was I didn't love it, but like you said, it's early. My stance on it really it's pretty simple for me. The race was better than last year, and sometimes it's okay to be okay.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to just sit on the middle of the fence, but we need to see a little bit more, and we need these teams to see a little bit more. One thing one of the carryovers for me that really concerned me with this new rules package reared its ugly head at Las Vegas, and I really hope that it's not as I hope that it tails off, that these cars are slowed down so much and they're so stuck to the track that the racing looks great for 10, 15 laps on a restart, but there's these guys, the cars aren't sliding around. They have such great car control. Yeah, you can be 4 wide and hold it, and you're not going to there's no danger there.
Right.
And I think that's the problem with the Aero package, is the reduced risk of where the ragged edge really is. I think that box is bigger now than it's ever been.
But here's the thing though, these guys also are really good at pushing it to the edge. So
Sure.
I think the fact that it was so clean this weekend is the fact that they don't know where the edge is yet.
Sure.
And they'll continue to push that edge until we find it, and then we're going to be back to the same. I don't think this is going to necessarily create a ton of wrecks or anything once they get to that edge, but we're going to be back to our same level of incidents, I think.
Yeah.
I do agree, and there was a lot of talk on Sirius this week. I know the show that Chocolate Myers is on. I don't remember what the heck they're called anymore. They've changed a bunch of stuff now. There you go. They've changed a bunch of stuff around on Sirius. So, but anyway, they talked a little bit about the fact that it's almost a bad thing that these cars are as good as they are now. We really need people spinning out. We need an accident here or there. We need cars breaking. We need motors blowing up. We need, part failures to keep things more interesting. That's one of the things that makes it interesting. And I don't know how you engineer that. You really can't. Obviously everything's gotten better and the technology's gotten better. And the only way to get rid of that is to make things weaker. And I don't know that we want to do that.
Yeah. It's hard to go back on technology.
Exactly. But
once it's so ingrained,
The thing is I don't believe that the lack of accidents had anything really to do with the package, other than that everybody was still feeling it out. I felt like the racing was really good. Was it pack racing? No, but we've said all along we're not going to get pack racing.
Yeah.
The restarts were freaking amazing, and if you'd have had a failure here or there, or a caution or two, then the rating for the race, the excitement of the race would be even better, because we'd have had more restarts. The fact we
needed a late race restart to bring it all together, and we just never got it.
Yeah, we only had 3 the whole race, and one of them was the start of the actual race. And at that time too, you're coming off of qualifying. These guys don't have the ideal setup for the race, so your first stage is just a survive stage. So you're not going to see, and that's why you saw Kevin Harvick pull out ahead. You'll notice that after that first stage, you didn't have somebody just running away with it. I felt the field was closer than it's been in the past, and maybe it didn't create a ton of passing, which, although I do think it did create some passing. I think there was a lot of passing back in the pack, and TV did a good job of showing it, and maybe they just were, doing their part to hype it up too, and showing more passing than they normally would, because I noticed they bounced around more. But even if it doesn't necessarily create more passing, if the field's closer together to give the option, if somebody screws up, to have a pass or something like that, that's better than what we've had. So
yeah,
I don't know. I'm certainly not
I just think,
I think it's good. I think what I saw was positive.
I mean, it was fine.
It wasn't
It was fine.
It wasn't particularly what I wanted
Yeah.
to see, but
No.
it was better than what I've seen on a mile and a half track in the past.
Yeah, and what we saw at the test, and we knew this back when we did the podcast, a few weeks back, when they had the test in Vegas. That's what got us excited.
Yeah.
And we just never saw that. That was not recreated. The
Right.
teams have already come too far.
We saw it in practice and qualifying.
Yeah.
Which qualifying, we'll get to qualifying in a minute.
Oh my God!
But-
I have a couple of soapboxes this week.
Yeah. So,
Um,
but I mean, that's the thing though too. Like if you look at the Xfinity package when they ran it last year at Michigan, we saw the same thing. We saw pack racing for 20 laps straight in practice and in happy hour. I mean, cars running in 20 car packs during happy hour, but you never saw that in the race. And that's
Yeah.
because they're testing it in happy hour. They're not really racing for position. Once they start racing for position, it evens things out and you get that single file racing. I do still think that this package is going to be better on a track like Michigan. I don't know that I'm optimistic of it for California because I think because the track surface is worn out, it might hurt this package.
Could be a little bit more like Atlanta.
Yeah, I feel like because you're going to get bumps and it's going to make you loose, I feel it's going to cause momentum shifts, and that might not lead for really close racing. But a track like Michigan that's pretty smooth, that might really amp up Michigan. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I hope it allows them to run multiple lines at Michigan. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
So-
NASCAR fans need to just settle down.
Yep.
NASCAR media needs to settle down. They got really fired up this week too. We're not going to replicate what we see at Daytona, and we're not
No.
going to replicate what we see at Martinsville on mile and a half tracks.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. It's a different form of racing.
Well, and there's
It's like
there's
a whole
reason,
different league.
There's a reason this package is out right now when we're going to release a new car in 2 years.
Yep.
Because this is the test. This is, everybody said last year, and we said on the podcast, why don't we run this package last year for a few races and test it? Well, that's what this year is. This year is a test. And they're going to make changes. I guarantee you they'll make changes during this season. I guarantee you they've already worked out with the teams, and the teams understand there's going to be some changes this season as they learn more on this package. And there'll be changes next year to improve it, to figure out what they need to put into this new car that we're going to have in 2 years.
Yep.
This is all, just to see what's. I mean, look at how much it changed from the All-Star race last year. We went from the restrictor plate to the tapered spacer. So, we're playing with the system right now. We're trying to see what works, and don't hold back. Have feedback, but understand that the sky is not falling.
Yeah, you don't have to jump off the edge of the cliff.
Right. The
It's
sky
all
is
good.
not falling, or the world's not the greatest place in the world if suddenly we get a good race out of this either. It's all gonna. Things still happen. It's still a race, and there's still things you can't control, and so.
And just listen to Steve O'Donnell. God bless him. I like that guy because he will speak the truth, and he was disappointed on Sunday.
Yep.
You could tell
Yep.
he was disappointed, and he basically said as much. It's not what we were looking for, but there's optimism there as well.
Right.
So everybody just settle down, take a deep breath. let's go to let's go to Phoenix. Let's go to California. We're early. We're early yet.
Yep.
Ratings were up. Lots of good signs coming out of Las Vegas. People were tuning in.
Yep.
Hopefully that continues as well. So, we're getting there. We'll get there. We just need to take a chill pill. We can't have instant gratification all the time.
What we need, James, is to see the restarts are good. So what we're going to do, we're going to change the rules this year.
Just restarts every lap.
Well, no, we'll run 10 lap runs. Just 10
there you
laps.
go.
No longer
So
than
we're gonna
10
do
laps.
The 2008 Brickyard, the race that killed Indianapolis.
Yes.
We'll do that.
Yes. So
Yes.
10
Okay.
laps. Every run is 10 laps. We'll do like 15, 20 stages, whatever we need to do to get it in, and do it that way. Just restarts, and as soon as what we'll do is there'll be a rule where if there's not like 6 passes a lap through the field, we'll throw a caution.
God, this is
So.
getting close to Tony Stewart's
I
figure
know.
eight.
We could do the
Figure
figure
eight.
eight too while we're at it.
Yeah, we're getting close.
Speaking of that, I'm going to go on a little tangent here. I think we talked a little bit a couple of episodes ago. Tony Stewart was on the Dale Jr. download. And James, I know you listened to it. I didn't even have to ask you if you
did.
listened to it.
Yeah, I did.
They did a thing on there where they played, I think it was the top 3
Oh yeah.
Tony Stewart interviews or comments for Stewart. And it was
Yes.
so good to listen. And it was kind of neat to see Stewart say that he regrets like a lot of the things he said. But it was such. If you don't listen, I've said it a million times. If you don't listen to Dale Jr. Download, go check it out. Go look for that Tony Stewart episode. It was so good. So
yeah,
good.
we miss that voice.
Oh, we do. Tony was willing to stir it up, and I like that. So.
Oh yeah, that's good stuff.
So, let's see. Where do we want to go here? Driver reactions mixed. You got the notes here, James. Logano loved it.
Of course.
Go ahead and tell us what Logano had to say.
Yeah, so Joey was he was fired up, man. Said it was awesome. You know how Joey is. He's
Right.
got the Joey's never gonna say anything bad about anything.
No,
So
Joey's always happy.
no, but he basically said, he thought the racing was awesome. Everybody was side by side. There was aggressive moves. And he said that's NASCAR, baby. So no, he's excited. So that was good to see. I don't know
Kyle
if
Busch is the only driver that could win a race
and
with a
say
new
this
package and say that it sucks. Everybody else is
Yes.
going to love it if they win.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
speaking of Kyle, in not so many words, he said the package sucked.
You did, yeah.
So
I think NASCAR told these guys to take it easy.
I think so too.
Because there was some grumbling from guys like Truex. There was a few guys on pit road after the race who were like, eh.
Yeah.
But they never really bashed it. So just wait.
So here's my opinion on this.
Just wait.
My opinion on that is, I am not in favor of NASCAR over policing drivers. I want these personalities to be personalities, etc. But I think where you draw the line, and I think where NASCAR should draw the line, is bashing NASCAR. That's one thing I'll give IndyCar. If an IndyCar driver rips on IndyCar, they get fined, man. And you shouldn't be bashing the organization that's paying you, that's making you get to do this. I mean, you should be able to be vocal. You should be able to have complaints. But if you come straight out and say something sucks, like Kyle did with the car tomorrow, and I don't necessarily believe his comments at Vegas would be fine worthy in my opinion. But I mean, these guys, if they really start bashing on the sport, they need to. NASCAR needs to sit them down and say, listen, that's too much. We're all trying to. To get something working here, and we don't need that negativity. There's enough of that in the media.
Yeah.
There's enough of that on social media. We don't need that from the drivers. So
There's definitely an undercurrent of somebody's going to get screwed late in a race because of this rules package.
yeah,
And they're going to blow their top. They're just going to
Yeah.
absolutely lose their minds.
Yep.
It's going to be a Harvick or a Kyle Busch or or even a Kurt Busch. Somebody is going to blow their top at some point.
Yeah.
You can sense it. Like, you don't even have to be in the garage right now. Just listen to the way the drivers are talking and just kind of, just everything kind of floating around out there. It's going to happen. Somebody's going to blow.
yeah. Well, considering how many things were said negatively about this package last season, what the opinions of these guys are already. And if it's proving them right, they're not going to have better opinions now. So.
Yeah.
We got to see a couple pit road penalties this weekend, and I wanted to talk to you about those, James. We chatted a little bit before we went on the air, and I kind of know the direction you're going to go with them. Austin Dillon and Kyle Larson both got penalized basically for their crew member, not basically, because one of their crew members reached over the wall and touched pit road with their hand. So the rule is you can only have so many guys over the wall on pit road. And NASCAR apparently even told drivers, I don't know if it was during the drivers meeting or through a bulletin or whatever, that they were going to police this. And if something touches pit road, if a foot touches pit road, if a hand touches pit road, that's considered over the wall, and that is against the rules, and you will be penalized for that. So Austin Dillon was running pretty well. He got bit by that early, got stuck back in the pack, wasn't really a factor from that point on. Kyle Larson was running well. He had the same issue. He got put in the back, and we didn't see much of him either. Is this a good call? Is this something that NASCAR should be policing? What do we think?
Yeah, good call. The penalties as they were are good calls. I know you hate that. I know you hate that answer.
I think it's stupid.
Hear me out.
It's
Hear me
so
out.
stupid.
I know.
I
but
get it.
here-
I get it. There's a rule, and NASCAR
Yep.
set the rule, but come on.
But why did they set that rule? What were the
Well,
teams doing?
So here's the deal, though, James. Here's my opinion on it. Okay, I get that. They're pushing it, and this is definitely an instance where the teams have done this to themselves. And my opinion on that. I'm sick and tired of the teams having to ruin everything. And there's nobody to blame on this. NASCAR is not to blame on this.
Yes.
It's the teams that are to blame on this, and they're the ones getting punished for it. The
Yep.
thing I don't like about it is the point of the rule. Essentially, the point of these rules is to get fewer people over the wall on pit road, is to keep people safer.
Yep.
So, okay, forget this if your hand touches pit road. Just don't let the guys help in the pit stop. Period. They don't get to work the lines. If they don't put the barrier as touching your hand down, because his hand's over the wall, he could still get hit even if he's not touching the ground. Don't let him
Yep.
cross the plane of the wall.
Yep.
Then it's a penalty. Then
Mhm.
I'm on board with it. I think the penalty's silly because of what they're penalizing.
Well,
And where the line, I think the line's in a silly place.
well, and remember what this penalty is, what these penalties and NASCAR's bashing this in. You know, they're over and over and over again. Don't do it. It's because last week saw somebody over the wall get nailed,
Yep.
not because they were illegal. It was over the wall and he got hit and broke his leg.
Yep.
And NASCAR is just emphasizing on the safety side.
Yep.
And the teams know, and all these, and you can't tell me the pit crew members don't know. Don't put your hand out there,
Right.
because they know.
Yep.
Don't do it, and you won't get busted.
I also don't like the gas man rule, because they made it so the gas man can't assist in the pit stop, and I'm good with that. But
Mhm.
they still let him use his feet to steer the tire, and I don't like that.
Yeah, if you're gonna call it, be consistent with it. I agree.
Yeah.
I do agree with you there.
Yeah.
However, you know, if you're gonna set the line, like in any other sport, if this is the line,
Right.
don't cross the damn thing.
The
or
li-
you're gonna get busted.
The line was clear. NASCAR made it clear to the teams. I don't disagree with the call.
And they
I just
communicate. Yep.
I just don't like where the line is.
And I know exactly where you're coming from. You're saying this is overkill.
Yes.
It's over. And you're probably right. You're probably right. It's overkill. But that being said, they've been told, don't be don't be stupid.
Yeah.
Really. It's it's what it is.
Yep. I agree.
Yep.
You're right. I mean,
Yep.
I think we found a middle ground on it.
Yeah. We both know where each other are coming from, but
Yes.
we don't technically agree.
Yes. So let's finish up on Vegas here. Anybody, winners, losers, anybody we need to mention there? Let's point out Ryan Newman. He came home I just had him. Where'd he go? 24th position after Ricky Stenhouse Jr. finishes 6th. So I don't think Newman's really expected to go to that car and win exactly, but that's pretty disappointing if his teammate's running as well as he is.
Yeah.
We mentioned Jimmy Johnson back in 19th. I think who was the other one I just saw? Daniel Hemrick looked really good all weekend in practice and everything, and then comes home 23rd.
Both our CR cars did.
Yeah, and so 23rd in the race and really was nowhere. I mean, he just was not existent. So
Yeah, I think Daniel Suarez was good. He let one kind of slip away from him a little bit.
Yep.
Ended up 17th. Bowman was a good run for him, 11th.
yeah,
I really think Kurt Busch is overachieving a little bit. I don't think his car was as good as 5th place, but man, the dude was out there leading laps. He's gonna win some races this year.
yeah, and I
Seems to be on a mission.
I feel the same way, and I think I've mentioned it on the podcast. I feel the same way with Kurt Busch in that car as Ryan Newman. It's a little bit different, but as Ryan Newman in the 6th car. I don't think Kurt Busch is put in that car expected to win a championship or anything. I think he's there to help the 42.
Kurt's like driving angry.
Yeah, Kurt driving angry is the best though.
Yeah, it's the best version of Kurt.
Kurt needs to be a little jaded. That's the best Kurt there is.
Yeah, because I feel like he thinks people are thinking, well, he left Stuart Haas, he's done.
Yeah,
And he's so far, he's in the way too early NASCAR playoff standings. He's 10th right now, so
Right.
he's in good position.
I still think the best Kurt Busch there ever was when he was in the 78 car.
Yeah, I think
That was
the
my
50
favorite Kurt Busch because he was starting
Yeah.
to get back with the fans. Fans started to like him again. He was not doing the stupid things that he was doing when he got fired, basically.
One of my favorite Kurt Busch moments was the year before that when he was driving for James Finch
Yeah.
at Sonoma, and he was leading with
Yep.
a broken race car at Sonoma.
Yeah.
Could have won the dang race, and ended up he ended up in the top 5. It slipped away from him. I can't remember. Something in the rear end of the car was busted, and he was just slinging that bad boy all over the place. That was phenomenal.
Another driver that kind of was just hanging in there quietly like he did last season a lot. Eric Almirola comes home 7th
Yeah.
place. I think
Yep.
he's going to be a major playoff contender. I don't think he's going to run for the championship
Oh,
necessarily.
he's not running. He's not going away.
But
Almiro's not going away now.
He's going to be a guy. He's going to be there.
Yeah. No, he's a veteran now, and he's not going away. He's going to be in the top 15 every week.
He's a Final 8 driver in the playoffs. I think.
Yeah, he was 5th last year.
Yep.
Oh, he can do it again.
Yep. So.
Yeah. Gosh, I'm looking through the. I have a loser.
Okay.
I'm going to call out Jeff Gordon.
Okay. I'm interested.
His broadcasting was terrible.
Okay. Huh.
I don't want 2 weeks in a row. Jeff Gordon is banging the drum that he's never seen racing like this before.
That's true. He has.
And I'm getting annoyed, Jeff. I'm sorry. He's done a great job.
So here's the question: Is Jeff doing a bad job this year, or was Dale Jr. that good?
Ooh, I think Jeff's better than Dale.
Really?
Still.
Oh,
Yeah,
I don't think so.
No, I think
See, because
overall-
but here's the difference though. Jeff's
Dale's exciting.
a
Exciting.
broadcaster. Jeff's a better broadcaster. Dale's a better guy that I want to hear in the booth.
But Dale's also the fourth. On the team he's the fourth option. He's not the first option.
I don't know.
I
think Dale's better than Jeff.
I think Jeff's got a little bit more responsibility than Dale does.
Oh, I don't
in the
disagree
booth.
with that. I don't disagree with that.
Jeff's got-
That goes.
And then Jeff's got sorry, Darryl Waltrip's somebody's got to carry that the
Right.
corpse of Darryl Waltrip's around.
Wow.
on the
You're not mincing words tonight, man.
I know. I'm just like, come on, Jeff, you're better than that. Quit telling me this is something we have never seen before.
You know what's happening though.
Well, he saw Dale Jr. last year, and he's trying to.
No, he's on Fox, man.
Oh,
This is what Fox does. Daryl's not as bad as he is. Michael Waltrip is Michael Waltrip the way that he is on the show on Fox because Fox wants him to be that. They've
He's so
even done it to Mike Joy.
he's so bad.
I know he is. But
Fox has such talented people, and they're just sometimes. Honest to God, Eric, I will not watch pre-races anymore because I know that the grid walk is going to come on the TV, and I'm going to get infuriated.
yeah,
I just
I understand.
rather
I very much sympathize. I haven't watched one yet this year. I have not
the
seen.
grid walk, the pre anything is usually like me and oil. It's like oil and water.
Yeah.
I don't want to watch pre-game football, pre-basketball because it's just a bunch of talking heads who are
Yep.
saying stuff that's not going to matter at the end of the day.
Yep, I agree. I don't watch
Oh,
much post stuff either. I like to see the top 3 interviews and then I'm done.
I want to see the driver cross the finish line, and then I'm off. I'm
Yeah.
off to the next thing.
One
But
thing I will point out about the Fox coverage is it has become obvious that it is not an error, or it's not a spur of the moment thing. They are doing the front stretch interview that NBC was doing,
Mhm.
and I like that. I think that is the
I do like
greatest thing for a fan in the stands to have that winner's interview right on the front stretch at the start finish line. And
Yes.
I like how Fox is doing it where they don't have a reporter in victory lane asking the same questions. It's the booth asking the questions. I really like it.
Yep, and I like the studio people that they got as far as Shannon Spake and that whole crowd that like during the week.
Yeah,
I
don't like
I
them
think
jumping back to the
pretty-
studio during the race though.
Yeah, I know. I agree with you there, but I like the people during the week. I'm good with what they've done.
They don't have the Hollywood Hotel at all anymore, right?
I don't think they call it the Hollywood Hotel. I think they're doing something
Is
different.
Chris Myers? Because I haven't watched pre-race. Is Chris Myers even still there?
Chris was at the 500. I haven't seen him since.
Because I think they're doing the race day thing instead, jumping back to the studio in Charlotte.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Which
From
I
what
don't
I've
mind.
seen
I
so
like.
far.
I like Shannon Spake. I've been a fan of hers. I think it's a good crew they got there on that. And like you said, during the week, I think they're great.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'm a fan of jumping back. I'm fine with the pre-race being there.
Yeah.
But, well, I miss pre-race. I miss the old race day stage, man. That was the best.
No, I know. They were not going back. I know.
I know.
That's too bad.
It's
too bad.
It was even great it was great to watch on TV. I really didn't like it in person because you had to look at people's backs because everybody wanted to be in the camera shot. I liked
Right.
watching it from the front to see what it was like kind of behind the scenes. And I didn't spend much time there at the track, but I really liked it watching on TV with the fans interacting and stuff. I thought it was cool. So
It was good. I do miss that.
Anything else from Vegas we need to hit on?
No, I think we're good. There wasn't much on track stuff, so
No, we
Yeah.
actually stretched a lot of discussion out of this. And
I know.
I didn't
but
think there was
that's
going to be much. So Do we care? James, give us the do we care?
Yeah. So ISM, aka Phoenix Raceway, only the charter cars are coming. 36 car field. That is low.
Do we care?
Do you care that it's only 36 cars?
I'll start. No.
This is the. Let me add to that. This is the first time this has happened since the charter system has come into play.
I still don't care.
Okay. Very good.
So why? Here's the thing. Those extra, what would you have? 4 cars? Because we run 40 cars now. Do those extra 40 cars make a difference?
No.
And not even they don't even make a difference in that, they're a lap car that the drivers have to pass, because most of them are not running past
until you
like
get to
20 or 30 laps.
Until you get to 30, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because it's just an economical thing.
Right. I mean,
let me give you
am I
the names
disappointed by it? Yes. I would rather see
Yeah.
I would rather see a 43 car field like we used to have, and I'd rather see 10 cars go home not making that 43 car show.
Let me read off just the finishing order from Vegas. Let me read off 30 to 38 because there was 38 cars. And you tell me if there's anybody here that we would be upset if they didn't show up. Michael McDowell, Parker Kligerman, Landon Castle, Ross Chastain, Matt Tifft, Cody Ware, Reed Sorensen, BJ McLeod, and Joey Gase.
Well, let me say that I like Parker Kligerman and Landon Castle, but no.
And yes, I like Kligerman, Castle, and Chastain, but they're not doing anything on the racetrack.
None of those guys are contenders. Honestly, you can take the top 20 any weekend and just run the top 20. And aside from the fact that the field was smaller coming to the green flag, you wouldn't notice the difference.
No.
So
there's one guy, well maybe just a handful of guys outside the top 20 in Vegas that you would have noticed. Ryan Blaney.
I was just saying like the average top 20 guys.
Right, exactly. That's it. But that's it. Ryan Blaney, Bubba Wallace, Matt DiBenedetto, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, Ryan Priest, Ty Dillon. But I mean, they're not generally contenders.
Exactly. They're not guys competing to win races. So
yeah.
I mean, I just see it. This is the NASCAR does this West Coast swing, and some of these races are going to get low car counts. It's just hard for some of these teams to make that trip. So it's easier to take an intermediate car. So if you're BJ McLeod, you take your intermediate car to Vegas, and then you just roll on to California, skip Phoenix. You know?
And the other thing to think about too is that this is not. You can't take your Vegas backup car and run it at Phoenix because you've got no aero ducts at Phoenix. So this is the old package that we're running at Phoenix. Yep. So yeah, I mean, if you're going to cut something somewhere, you're probably going to cut the old package races because you're working on the new package stuff. So, it's disappointing. I'd rather see 43 car fields. I remember a few years ago when it was like, man, we almost need to make these fields bigger because there's so many cars that we were struggling to get everybody in. And that's why the charter system was introduced, because there were teams that were toward the back of the pack that couldn't be guaranteed to make it in because there were too many, possible teams in the back of the field that could make it each weekend. But I mean, right now, if you had a bigger field size or if more cars were starting, you're just talking starting parks anyway. Those guys don't, I mean, it matters for them, but for us as fans, it doesn't matter.
It don't matter. No. Nope, doesn't matter. But I still think it's a little bit of a deal. But
it's significant. It's something worth noting for sure.
I mean, we used to bring 43 every week, and now we're all of a sudden it's a couple years later, and you're 36.
Well, I remember when it started being a big deal that only 43 cars were qualified for the race. Nobody was going home.
Yeah, I know. Now it's 36.
Yeah. So.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I don't really care right now, but yeah, talk to me when we get to 30, and then.
Right.
But we won't. These charters are too important.
Exactly.
These teams have to go. Yeah,
that's the thing. We've got 36 charters. There's going to be 36 cars at the track, pretty much guaranteed. Unless something drastic happens, there'll be 36 cars there.
Exactly.
So, and that's why the charter system's designed the way it is.
Yep.
Is it guarantees us 36 cars at the track.
Yep.
So, let's talk about some new stuff. James, I'll give you the first one since I don't know if it just happened, but I just heard about it today and I've only heard a little bit about it. So you go ahead with the first one.
Oh yeah. NASCAR, he was racing the truck series a little bit. Tanner Thorson, he was injured in a car accident on the California highway. It looks like he's going to be okay. Some broken bones, some things like that, but
sounded like it was a pretty bad accident, like really awful looking scene.
Yeah, it's pretty nasty. If you do a Google search for him, you'll see some of the images of the crash and stuff. Yeah, it's pretty wicked. I think he's probably feeling pretty fortunate that that's all he's got is a few broken bones. So I just wanted to shout him out and give him some of the best wishes. And hopefully he comes back healthy. I know he's been kind of doing some stuff on the dirt, in the dirt scene here lately. So hopefully he gets a speedy recovery and gets back out there. That's scary stuff, man. Can happen to anybody.
Yeah, I mean, look at Wendy Venturini last year. You just never know what could happen at what time. So, yeah, looking at a couple of these pictures, pretty awful crash.
Yeah, it's wicked.
Huh. I'm glad you mentioned or put this next story in here, James, because I think it's definitely worth mentioning. Hailie Deegan gets herself another win.
Yeah, this is news.
K&N West Series at the Bull Ring at Las Vegas. I think, or no, it's not the Bull Ring. It's whatever, the dirt track at Vegas. Last lap passed. She only led one lap, and that was the last one. Excellent move. I think this girl is what everybody wanted Danica Patrick to be.
She's getting there.
She's got the personality. She's got the skill, it seems. She's just running in K&N right now. It's not like she's lighting up the world. She's won 2 races the last 2 years. She ran all 14 races in the series
both
last
bump and
year.
runs, by the way.
Right, yeah. But this girl is something, and I got to see her at Eldora last year. I didn't get a chance to talk to her, but she was there, and I listened to her talk to people. She's very, very well spoken for her age. I mean, Brian Deegan knows how to market yourself. I mean, Deegan came up with the whole Metal Militia thing, and was able to create this character essentially of himself, and so she's got the skill that she needs. She's got the people behind her that she needs, and I'm excited to see what she does. I can't wait to see her in a Camping World truck. Which I don't know do they have any scheduled for her this year? I can't remember.
I think she is going to run a couple this year. Yes.
I know she was scheduled for some ARCA races.
Yep. I think she'll be running. She better be full-time truck next year.
Yeah, she better be.
Yeah, because she's talented enough.
I think she's gonna run for the championship this year in K&N for sure.
She is. I'd love to go to like Motorsports Analytics and see like what her trajectory really is.
Yeah.
But the eyeball test says this girl's gonna win a top 3 race at some point.
Yep.
She could win in a truck.
Yep.
I mean, eventually.
So
now you couldn't put her in a truck now and win, but
she's 17 years old right now.
She's got a little ways to go.
She's 1 for 1 this season in races. She got the win. Last year, 2018, she ran all 14 races. She had 1 win, 5 top 5s, 12 top 10s, which K&N, we're talking a smaller series. Top 10s, if you're a good driver, you should be able to click off more top 10s than not.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I think she's going to be the real deal. I'm excited to see what she does as she moves through the ranks.
Yeah,
so.
she's coming. She's legit. It's not fake news.
No, she's one to keep an eye on. So
she is going to contend for the championship this year.
Yep.
She's the points leader now. So 1 race in.
Yep.
So let's keep an eye on her. I want to see how the rest of this K&N season goes.
She is the points leader. She has led 1 lap this season.
Doesn't matter. This is the only one that matters.
Yep.
Good for her. No, this is a cool story though. Good for her, man. That's exciting.
Yep. I've been excited. I've been following along. She has a YouTube channel that her and her dad do that chronicles what she's doing, and that's pretty neat to see. And just on social media and stuff, she's real good at it too. Obviously, she's 17 years old, so she knows what she's doing there. I think it's bred into them at that age. So
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
But she's gonna come into the ARCA series and she's gonna make Natalie Decker look pretty nothing, because Natalie really hasn't impressed me at all.
No.
So.
No, this is a real racer.
Yeah.
This, regardless gender, whatever, this is a real racer.
Yes. Yep.
This is not.
Racing is in the blood of this family.
Yeah. Apologies to Danica Patrick, but this is a real racer.
Yep, I agree. And I don't.
She's here. Yeah, she's not here for anything other than to win.
She's not going to get the big head and do the Danica Patrick thing where everything needs to revolve around her either. This is
somebody different.
She's down to earth. She's a real person. So.
Yeah, so far, I mean, from what we're seeing so far, obviously, but hopefully
I don't think the way, I don't know, Brian Brian had his moments where he got frustrated because Travis Pastrana made it big at the same time as he was, and
Travis stole his stuff.
yeah, Travis kind of was the goody two shoes, and X Games was always catering to Travis and all this stuff. So he got a little sour there for a while, but I think Deegan's pretty down to earth. Brian is pretty down to earth too, and I think he'll keep her in her shoes, and I think he's raised her right as a person that's all tatted up and almost died multiple times from motorcycle crashes, and somebody who's completely insane with the stuff that he's done on a dirt bike.
Yeah,
as good
for
as
sure.
one of those guys can parent.
Yes,
So.
absolutely.
But she's got the support, and that's awesome. So
Yep, love it.
all right, we go back to the old package this weekend, James. We go to the ISM Raceway at Phoenix, the Ticket Guardian 500. Remember we've got the new configuration that made it pretty interesting in the fall race. I thought it added to things and definitely made the track seem different. I think you do get the first pick this week, right?
I do. Right? Yep, I fixed the show notes.
All right, I'm giving it to you. I'm just going to throw it right to you.
We're back on track. Well, we both picked the Busch brother last week.
Yeah.
And you dang it, you beat me by a couple of spots. So, saying that, Kyle Busch is the defending winner of the new configuration.
Yep.
So he won last fall.
Does that matter?
I don't know.
I don't think it
Man,
matters.
I'm wrestling with that because if I have the first pick and we're going to Phoenix, I know who I want.
I know who you're going to pick too.
It's Kevin Harvick.
Right.
It's got to be Kevin Harvick.
Is that who you're going with?
I'm gonna take him.
All right.
You got to take him.
He was my choice, so I'll give him to you.
He's ridiculous at Phoenix. He's just what am I supposed to do?
No, you got to take him. That's what I would do. I wasn't even going to think about it. I was going to take him.
He did win this race last year. Again, did not win on the new configuration, but that matters. He's won a whole bunch here. He owns this place.
All right, I'm going to go a different route, and I'm going to surprise you, but not, because I'm not going to go Kyle Busch, but I'm going to go with the guy that I'm pretty sure I picked in the fall. I'm going to pick him again because he is the second best as far as average finish at this track.
Still.
I'm going Chase Elliott for the win.
Yep. Hendrick Motorsports has to show me something.
Yeah, I think Byron's been showing it a little bit. So
yeah. Well, he's got Knaus on his box. I like that.
Yep. Well, I get Dark Horse first, and I'm gonna just stick with the Hendrick train, and I'm gonna go William Byron for my Dark Horse.
Chevrolets.
He's got a good average finish as well. I think he's getting some momentum going. I think him and Chad Knaus are gonna start clicking.
Yep.
And I don't know that he's gonna win the race, but I think he's gonna run well.
Yeah. I don't know if he qualifies as a dark horse, but I think because of the team he's on and the point he's at.
He hasn't won a race yet.
I'm talking about my dark
okay.
horse.
I was gonna say.
No, I like your dark horse.
Okay.
No, my dark horse has some wins at Phoenix, so you can disqualify me if you think he doesn't qualify.
Okay.
Ryan Newman? Can I take Ryan
he's
Newman?
definitely a dark horse.
Good. Okay,
Yes.
I'm gonna take him.
Yes,
I'm gonna take him.
Definitely take Ryan Newman as a dark horse.
Yeah, I'd like to see what he can do.
I think unless it's a restrictor plate track, I think anybody in a Roush Fenway car is a dark horse still.
Okay, very good.
I would be confident taking Ricky Stenhouse as a dark horse anywhere but Daytona or Talladega.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
He's proven that.
That may change this season by the looks of things.
I was eyeballing Matt Benedetto, but he's a little too far down the average finish scale. So
I was kind of thinking Eric Almirola because while his average finish isn't the greatest,
he's been really good.
Yeah, his average finish is down a little bit, but if you really start looking at recent races there, his average is much, much better. And so he's right on the edge of dark horse because he has race wins.
Yeah, he's a top 5 he's a top 5 points finisher.
Yeah.
I don't know
I don't
anymore.
think we can call him a dark horse anymore.
No, he's elevated himself to the next tier. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, there we go.
Good.
James, any shout outs this week?
Yeah. So I texted you this earlier this week, but the company I work for here in Michigan, our CEO came into my office the other day and said, "Hey, what do I need to know about Vegas?" And I said,
awesome.
"Well, here's something we saw during the test, blah blah blah." And he goes, "Well, good, because I'm going out there." And I'm like, "What the heck?" So to our CEO Tom, I hope you had fun in Las Vegas watching the Cup Series. I think he went to all 3 races.
Awesome. That's
And
cool.
then he did some rock climbing the next day. I'm like, man, that's the kind of life I want.
That's awesome. That's absolutely
Yeah.
cool.
Yep, really cool.
All right. I have a shout out this week, which I stumbled across thanks to my buddy Ryan, who's I've shouted out on the show before. He clued me in on an interview that this podcast did with Jerry Punch. I think it was last year now.
Doctor.
And
The doctor.
yeah, so I went back and listened to the podcast and loved it. It's called Dinner with Racers. So basically, what these guys do is they take a road trip across the country, sponsored by Continental Tire, and they sit down like every day or a couple times a day with different people in the motorsports world and have dinner with them. And they record the audio as they have dinner with them. And so Jerry Punch was the first one I listened to. They did one with Shane Meal in January of last year. I listened to that one as well. And they did one with Jeremy Mayfield last year, right before Shane Meal. And all three of them are spectacular. And the
Talk
most
about
recent
two
ones...
Outcasts right there.
That's
that
the,
would be good.
well, that they mentioned the Jeremy Mayfield interview with Shane Meal, and it's like, oh man, I got to go back to that one. And it's pretty interesting, you know. Jeremy talks and you know, we know Jeremy's very one-sided at his story as far as what happened with NASCAR, and there's a lot of disagreements whether Jeremy's right or NASCAR's right. We know.
Well, we have a few facts, like known facts, that would lead me to believe. Anyway,
we do know historically that NASCAR did screw a driver over. As far as, you know,
that's
you know,
that's a 30 for 30. I live real life 30 for 30.
Yeah, we can talk about the Tim Richmond deal any day. He definitely got hosed. That was a different time, different, you know, era, all that. But Jeremy's story sounds pretty interesting. I'm not saying I buy it because I know I get it, but it was pretty interesting to listen to what he had to say about the whole deal and how it all went down.
That's for sure. Interesting as a word.
It was a good podcast. So I highly recommend Dinner with Racers. Check it out. The last one I think they did is December of last year, so they don't have any new ones right now. But dinnerwithracers.com is their website. You can read more about it there. You can find the episodes on there. And, of course, you can find it wherever you find podcasts. But I highly recommend it. And go back through their library and listen to some of the old episodes. They have a Tony Stewart in there, James. I haven't listened to it yet, but there's a Tony Stewart in there.
What?
So,
all right.
Yeah. But
listen.
I do highly recommend the Jerry Punch one. It was great. If you never heard Jerry Punch talk about his story, you maybe don't realize Jerry Punch he's a trauma doctor. And like when he was covering NASCAR, as a media member, he was working during the week as a trauma doctor. And so he would go to the track, and his agreement with ESPN or whoever he was working with was that he was working for the company, but if somebody was hurt, that was his primary role. He'd switch over to doctor mode, and he saved Rusty Wallace's life. He saved a couple ARCA drivers' lives. Really interesting stories about the things that Jerry's seen and how he's dealt with things and all this stuff.
I miss that guy around the track. Him and Alan Bestwick.
I didn't like Jerry as a play-by-play guy, but as a pit reporter, he was spectacular. He's going to CBS Sports now, from the sounds of it. So
good. Yep. Keep working.
So, but definitely highly recommend that. The Shane Meal one was really interesting. Shane's obviously kind of turned his life around and then had his tragic accident where he was paralyzed in the Silver Crown car at the dirt track. But the stories about him and he's very candid talking about his issues with drugs and everything that got him banned from NASCAR for life. And it's a great podcast. And of course, I've already mentioned the Mayfield one was pretty good too. So yeah, I'll be listening to a lot of them for sure. So check it out.
Right on.
With that, let's talk about Fantasy League, James. I know you want to get right to that.
Woo.
So James and I are not doing very well.
No, I'm in danger of losing my seat on the podcast at this point.
Yeah.
No.
So looking at the overall league standings, Justin 713 is our points leader currently with 551 points. Freight Train 295 second with 488. Scoters, I think is how you pronounce it. Shane Brown, it says in parentheses, 478. In third place, Hurricane Ditka, which is Jacob Lyle, in fourth with 471 points. Yours truly, the KB Show, in fifth, 439. Ranger Runyon, who joined us a week late, has managed to bypass James and move into sixth place, 425. And Mr. Kutch is back in seventh. Smokey Comeback, 390. James, what the heck is happening, man?
I know. I'm barely getting over 100 points a week.
That's pretty rough.
It's not been good. It's not been good.
So this past week, James finished dead last. I finished just 18 points ahead of him in sixth. So Ranger Runyon got the big win, 245 points to.
Yeah. So he leapfrogged me, and
Yeah.
he's missed a race. So he's coming.
Yep.
Yep.
So there you go, guys. That's the update for the Fantasy League right now. If you have not joined the Fantasy League, you want to get in. I would imagine you could probably bypass James and I pretty easily.
You can still catch me. Yeah. Easy.
By
Got a
the-
long way to go.
By the time we hit the playoffs, you guys will be well ahead of us. So go on our Facebook page, facebook.com/the Super Speedway. The instructions are on there. Just flow down the, move down. Maybe I'll go and find that post and pin it at the top so you guys can find it easily if you want to join us.
Yeah, there you go.
So
Good idea.
we're doing it through NASCAR.com, which was because of me, and I don't know. I'm
Now we're all
gonna
frustrated.
own it. I'm gonna own it because I at least I have an app, but it leaves a lot to be desired. So
Yeah,
the
nobody's
problem
getting
is
hurt.
it's not designed for a time shifter, and you can make all these changes in the middle of the race, and I don't do that because by the time I can make the changes, the race is over. So
Yeah, I'm struggling. I'm struggling with the whole thing.
you're gonna be the first one to bail this year, huh? You got to stick it out. I'm gonna
think
stick it
so.
out. I'm sticking out.
No, I won't bail. No, yeah, I won't bail, but I'm struggling.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't. I'm like BJ McLeod of the fantasy league. I'm just out there. I'm just a guy who's out there.
Trying to think, who would that make me? Maybe Corey LaJoy. Like, there's some potential there, but really just kind of a disaster.
Yeah, you've got potential, but you're in an underfunded car.
Yeah. So am I Matt DiBenedetto then? Like last year's Matt DiBenedetto?
Yeah, exactly. You're Corey LaJoy. Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, you're right. All right. James, where can they find you during the week if they want to find you on social media?
At James Cush on Twitter.
You can find me at T Super Speedway on Twitter. You can find the podcast on Facebook.com/The Super Speedway. Find us on the web at www.thesuperspeedway.com. You can find the podcast on there. Show notes, links to all the articles that we talked about. Haven't been a lot of news to talk about lately. It's kind of nice, actually. I'm happy with, not talking about penalties and all that crap. You can find the podcast on iTunes, Google Play, and SoundCloud, wherever you guys heard us today. We hope you subscribe. If you want to become a part of the show, want to become a guest on the show, there's all kinds of cool stuff you can do. If you become a patron at www.patreon.com/thesuperspeedway, you'll also help us out. Maybe boost up the equipment we've got here a little bit, maybe get us to another track or a race or whatever. We really appreciate all the support we get. We appreciate the patrons we have right now. Again, patreon.com/thesuperspeedway. Anything else, James, before we head on out?
Nah, I'm good.
We continue on the West Coast swing this week. It is ISM Raceway, the Ticket Guardian 500 at the old Phoenix International Raceway. And we'll be back next week to talk about it. Until then, everybody, let's go racing. All right, I nailed that outro.
You did.
Got
That's
that
good.
one. It's about freaking time. 98
Well
episodes,
done.
it finally happened.